welcome to the Fantasy Foot Bros podcast, brought to you by The Shell Corporation, with your host and the scientist behind Nav, the 3-time winning owner of The Walking Dead, Nick Young, and the most jacked fantasy owner to ever play the game, given everything he's got, Tim Young. Now, let's get into some fantasy talk. The Lonesome Kickers! Hello and welcome in to episode 5 of the Fantasy Foot Bros podcast. Today, we're talking about the newly named Lonesome Kickers.
I like the name.
Yeah, so do I. It's a much better name than 4th and 76. So, good name, good owner. He knows about football. He's great to work trades with. He's always eager to make a trade or trying to improve his team, active on free agency. Ton of bad luck, though.
Yeah.
He has really gotten the short end of the stick plenty of times. What do you think about him last year and how he did?
Yeah, he is one of the more active, more attentive owners for sure. He's constantly making moves and interested in trade deals, which is pretty good for someone doing it mostly remotely too. We have a little bit of an advantage sometimes in the inner office workings and being able to make a deal go down just randomly across the room. So it's good that he's able to do that still, working through the app and messages. And it's great that he's able to do that, and it's a shame that it hasn't worked.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, like I said, he's always active on trades, and he's done, 3 trades already before the draft here. And it's really great to see that he's trying to improve his team, but his future team.
Right.
Because he doesn't seem to care too much about this year, trading away his first overall pick, which really wipes away a lot of his keepers that he could have had. Not that they had a ton of value, like Aaron Rodgers, Calvin Ridley, some first-round picks that he could have kept, but there's an argument to be made for the Aaron Rodgers one.
And I love that people are thinking long term in this league, and they're here for the long haul, and how can I give myself the best chance to win ultimately at some point. But I hate to see it before the draft.
Yeah, especially before training camp and everything has really taken place in preseason games where there's going to be a lot of injuries. So I like that he's active. I think it was a little too soon to trade away the first round pick to me, but that's a huge bargaining chip for the season. So as far as Aaron Rodgers goes in that first-round keeper value, there's an argument to be made that he could have been worth a first-round keeper, especially with the increased 6 points per passing touchdown, where the mobile QBs kind of take a step back and the pocket passers take a step forward. So do you look to trade Aaron Rodgers to another team for a potential first-round keeper, or do you not think he fits the mold anywhere?
I don't think you find anybody biting. I think that it's likely that Rodgers gets drafted somewhere in the 8th to 12th overall pick kind of range.
But first round?
First round, yeah. It's possible that he slides into the second round too. And in that kind of range, getting him at value there, I don't think you'll find anybody willing to give up much of anything to have him as an option at a keeper. Now, if he's willing to part with him for a 12th round pick or something, then maybe.
I'm curious, what was his NAV value? Do you have that?
Yeah, so right now, the average draft position hasn't caught up to the fact that Rodgers is there and that he's going to be there. Too many cheat sheets, too many experts still haven't updated their rankings to show that. So it's pushing down his NAV value right now. Right now, he's showing that it's super negative score at the moment. And that's something that I anticipate will rise over the next couple of weeks and probably be about flat if he had the 12th overall pick.
Okay. So Calvin Ridley is another number 1 keeper that he could have had. I don't think he was worth a number 1 keeper spot, but I do think he's going to have a great season this upcoming year with Julio gone. We talked a little bit about that. So do you think Calvin Ridley is going to be a top 5 receiver?
Yeah, he's an exciting pick. A lot of people are super on the Calvin Ridley train this year. A lot of hope for him taking the next step and being an elite level target. And I think he's capable of it. Yeah, he certainly has a talent. He's going to have the opportunity there. Pitts is going to be in the equation, their new rookie tight end. But Calvin Ridley is the top guy with Julio out of the picture now. He's in Tennessee, and
well, let's say you have the fifth pick of the third round. Okay, are you going to take Ridley?
I don't expect Ridley to be there by that point.
Okay, well, let's just have whatever pick it may be. You have the choice between Ridley, Hopkins, Diggs, Metcalf, and A.J. Brown. I know some of them are keepers, but let's just say for argument's sake. Is he the top one out of those five?
No, I think A.J. Brown probably is for me.
Okay, even though you hate Tannehill.
I do, yeah.
Yeah, that's interesting. Hot take. So even above Hopkins and Diggs, I mean, those are the two that I would.
Diggs actually, yeah.
Yeah, I would say Diggs is probably my top one.
Yeah, I agree.
But I know you really like Tannehill, so maybe AJ Brown is the top one.
Diggs, Brown, Hopkins, Ridley.
Okay.
But it's close for me.
So as far as the rest of his team, like I said, he traded away a lot of options that would give him the early round keepers.
Yeah, he doesn't have a pick until the fourth round.
Yeah. So he does have some okay later round keepers. The first one that we've kind of talked about before in the past for me was Deontay Johnson. I think that's a keeper in the 10th round that you could really see a lot of value from. I know we've talked extensively about Ben Roethlisberger, Juju, and Claypool, and
situation.
So I think he has a high ceiling. He could be a target machine, just getting all of those receptions and kind of working that half-point PPR. And in the 10th round, who else you're going to get in that area with that type of ceiling? So I would keep Deontay Johnson as my first keeper. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, Nav supports that. We're in the meat of it. Nav scores pretty good on Deontay Johnson.
Do we have a number?
Yeah, that is 121.
All right, 121. Is that the highest keeper value on his team?
It is. Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So that is a clear-cut keeper for me. I think that's an easy decision for him, at least as far as the score goes. And a 10th round, I think that really makes it an easy decision. Like we talked about before, I'm not going to be super invested in the Steelers' offense this year. I'm not going to be going out of my way to get a big part of that. I do not trust that Ben Roethlisberger still has it. And Deontay Johnson is probably a wide receiver 2 at best is what you're hoping for there. But out of your 10th round pick, that's a real good value. I think that's fine.
Yeah, and I think the Steelers offense, I mean, you keep coming back to this not having faith in Ben Roethlisberger. His arm was messed up last year, and he was able to support 3 wide receivers in the top 30. So, I mean, why can't he do that again with, more experienced wide receivers?
I look at what happened with Drew Brees last year and his steep decline suddenly.
Okay.
That even great quarterbacks lose it unless your name's Tom Brady. It happens. And he's showing all the signs that, to me, it looks like he's done.
Well, like you said, for a 10th round spot, I think that it's fine.
I do want to mention that Deontay struggled with drops last year. He was even benched at one point. That's certainly something you hope is better this year. A lot of people expect it'll be better, but wouldn't make me feel warm and fuzzy.
Which is ironic because he got the most target and receptions of the 3 Steelers receivers. So when all 3 of them were on the field at the same time, he was getting those targets. So Ben does have trust in him. While he may have a lot of drops and issues with that, they still try and feed him the ball. So I don't know if he's just getting the separation that Ben Roethlisberger feels comfortable throwing to him. But that's interesting how those two stats connect. So for his second keeper, who do you see as another potential keeper for him, or who are some people on the table?
Yeah, so I think that the debate there is between Dave Montgomery and Derek Carr. And I definitely say David Montgomery now that he's made a trade to acquire the 12th pick of the 6th round. While he briefly did not have a 6th round pick and it would have cost him a 5th, that was pretty marginal, pretty flat on the NAV score. As it is now, that very last pick of the 6th round, being able to keep him there, that's worth a 78 on the nav. So that's pretty good. That's pretty decent. That's a good return there. David Montgomery showed a whole lot of talent late in the season, well past the point that
it's incredible.
He was eliminated last year.
Once you got past the bye week, he just went off. I mean, his lowest score was 19 points from week 12 through 17.
Mm-hmm.
So if he would have had a playoff push, he would have been a huge part of it. And I know he was shopping him around a lot, and nobody had interest in him.
Yeah.
I didn't personally. I traded for Clyde Edwards-Helaire instead of David Montgomery because the name it's not a sexy name. You don't get excited about David Montgomery. He's just an average running back. But I do think he's going to have a very good year this year. He's going to be, if healthy, a top 24 QB running back just from reps alone.
Probably is. Yeah.
So I think for the 6th round, you're getting a top 24 running back. That's where I would go. You had mentioned David Carr. David Carr was on the table for me too. But Derek Carr, yeah. Dave, you don't want David.
No.
Derek Carr, you could probably still get him in the 9th round or 8th round if you really wanted to. But I don't think you need to reach to get him.
Not many people are going to really want to.
And he could very well fall to the 11th round too. I mean, people could get their starting QBs early on and then wait until rounds 12, 13, 14 to kind of get a third QB for their roster.
Mm-hmm.
Now that we're limiting it to 3 QBs only, I mean, I'd be surprised if you saw, him go any earlier than the 8th round. But that was my 2 for keepers. Any other players you wanted to point out?
Not particularly. No. No, that's what he's got there. Kirk Cousins in the 5th, I don't think is good enough return there. Although I think he'll be fine. What else he's got there? Better direction.
Now he's got a really tough division for this year.
Yeah.
You have Adam, Brian's Cannon, Jim, and then himself. And selling that 1st round pick, it's going to make it even more difficult for him to compete this year.
I don't think he has any intention of. Yeah.
It doesn't seem like it. And he's looking to the future there. So 2022. He could be a good team. For this year, out of those teams, I have him coming in at 4-10, coming in dead last there in the division. I don't see.
Dead last in the league?
Oh yeah, he's getting 1st pick next year. So he's getting the number 1 overall pick next year, and then he's getting a few more 1st rounds.
I'm pretty sure he'll safely be in the top 3 is where I have him. As far as draft picks.
Oh, I thought you meant in the division. I was like, there's 4 people in the division. That's
not
a hot
in the
take.
top 3 of the division. He will be in last.
Yeah, so, and it's a shame because he's like I said, he's active on free agency.
Yeah, I expect that he'll work the wire and he'll scrounge together a couple wins. And
well, that's what I think he's going to be best at is working the free agency and working waiver wire, and then trading those picks for draft capital in the upcoming season for people that are trying to win now. And I think that's the strategy he's going in with now, and kind of accepting that this is a loss, but then the next year getting 11th round keepers from waiver wire pickups or being able to trade those pieces could really set him up nicely in the long haul.
Yep. I expect he'll go pretty young with a lot of his picks in the draft. He'll take a chance on some high upside younger players and see what happens.
Well, that sounds good. I think that's all I have. So, Nick, anything else from you?
That's it.
Sounds good. Well, thanks for joining us again on episode 5 with the Lonesome Kickers. See you soon.